4 worst breads you should never touch and 4 you must eat daily if you are over 60. The bread industry is a trillion-dollar empire, feeding billions of people every single day. But here's the terrifying truth almost 99% of seniors don't know. Most of the breads being pushed on seniors today aren't just unhealthy. They're engineered for maximum profit at the expense of your body. Behind every soft slice of white bread or fortified loaf lies a carefully hidden truth. These products accelerate aging, weaken your muscles, spike your blood sugar, and quietly strip away the very strength that keeps you walking. The bread industry thrives on this silence. It exports billions in cheap grains, slaps on health claims, and cashes in, while seniors across the world are left struggling with muscle loss, brittle bones, and rising risks of heart disease. But here's the part no one is saying out loud. Not all breads are the enemy. Some, rare, often ignored, and buried under the marketing noise, rebuild strength, protect your arteries, and give seniors a fighting chance to stay sharp and independent. The tragedy? These are the breads almost no one talks about because they don't generate the same mega profits as the processed ones. Doctors aren't warning you. Supermarkets certainly aren't. But today, we're cutting through the marketing lies and showing you the real science, straight, raw, and shocking. In this video, we're going to reveal the 4 worst breads you should never touch, and the 4 best breads you must eat daily to survive and stay strong after 60, ranked from number 4 to number 1. And trust me, you need to stick around, because the number 1 bread on this list could slash your risk of deadly disease by over 60% if you eat it daily. Every single reference I mention is linked in the description below, so you can see the science yourself. But before we dive in, tell me in the comments, from where are you watching us right now? We're reading and replying to every single one. Now, without any further ado, let's start with the number 4 worst bread seniors should never eat. Number 4. Bagels. Bagels might look harmless, even comforting, but for seniors over 60, they can be one of the sneakiest bread traps. A single plain bagel may look like just a simple round bread, yet inside that dense dough is the carbohydrate equivalent of nearly 4 slices of white bread. That means eating one bagel can spike your blood sugar almost instantly, forcing your pancreas to pump out large amounts of insulin. For seniors, this surge isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous, because the body's ability to handle glucose weakens with age. A study published in Diabetes Care found that seniors over 60 who consumed high glycemic foods like bagels had a 37% greater risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who stuck with lower glycemic options. The problem is that the starch in bagels is refined and broken down so quickly that the blood sugar roller coaster it creates puts stress on your heart, your kidneys, and your nerves. Meet Susan, 72. She started every morning with a toasted bagel and coffee, believing it was a simple, energy-boosting breakfast. For years, she ignored her doctor's warning about her slightly high fasting glucose. One morning, after a dizzy spell while gardening, she was rushed to the ER, where she learned her blood sugar had spiked dangerously high just an hour after breakfast. The doctor explained that her daily bagel was no different from eating cake in the morning. It was flooding her bloodstream with sugar disguised as bread. That wake-up call forced Susan to swap her bagel habit for whole-grain toast with avocado, and within weeks her energy and blood sugar readings improved. Bagels also carry another hidden danger: size. Modern bagels are much larger than they were decades ago. In the 1960s, the average bagel weighed about 3 ounces, but today they're closer to 6 ounces. That's double the carbs, double the calories, and double the insulin spike. The good news is you don't have to give up bread entirely. Choosing a single slice of sprouted grain bread or rye with some protein can keep you satisfied without wrecking your blood sugar. The trick is control. Smaller portions, higher fiber, and pairing with healthy fats to slow the release of sugar into your system. But bagels aren't the only bread silently harming seniors. The next one is even more shocking because most people eat it daily without a second thought. Number 3. Brioche. Soft, Golden and buttery, brioche feels like comfort in every bite. It's light, fluffy, and often marketed as an elevated bread, so many people assume it's healthier than a regular white roll. But that assumption can be dangerous, especially for seniors over 60. Brioche is made with refined white flour, sugar, eggs, and a heavy dose of butter. This makes it not just a bread, but a calorie-dense, fat-packed dessert disguised as something simple. A single brioche blood urea nitrogen can contain more sugar than a slice of cake, and its refined flour causes a rapid spike in blood sugar. For older adults whose metabolism is already slowing, this sudden rush of glucose forces the pancreas to pump out more insulin, which over time can worsen insulin resistance and push someone closer to type 2 diabetes. Meet Margaret, 72. She loved treating herself to a brioche roll every morning with her tea, thinking it was a light breakfast. But within months, she started noticing weight gain around her belly, fatigue after eating, and dizzy spells by noon. Her doctor later explained that the rich combination of butter and refined sugar in her daily brioche was spiking her blood sugar and then crashing it down, leaving her tired and hungry again. This roller coaster effect didn't just make her gain weight, it increased her risk of heart disease by raising triglycerides in her blood. Margaret eventually replaced her brioche with whole grain toast and avocado, which kept her fuller for longer and stabilized her energy throughout the day. The danger with brioche is that it doesn't look threatening. It's not a donut or a slice of cake, it's just bread. But the hidden sugars, processed flour, and heavy fats make it worse than many desserts. Seniors eating brioche regularly are exposing themselves to blood sugar spikes, weight gain, and inflammation that silently damages the heart and blood vessels. A better swap is whole grain bread with added seeds, which provides fiber, slows digestion, and protects against sudden sugar surges. But brioche isn't the worst offender on this list, because the next one has been sitting on senior breakfast tables for decades, and it's doing far more harm than most people realize. Number 2. White bread. White bread has been a staple on kitchen tables for generations, but for seniors over 60, it can be one of the most damaging foods you could eat daily. Stripped of its fiber, vitamins, and minerals during processing, white bread is nothing more than refined starch. When you eat it, your body breaks it down almost instantly into glucose, causing a rapid blood sugar spike followed by a sharp crash. For older adults, this repeated cycle of highs and lows doesn't just leave you feeling weak and tired. It accelerates the very diseases that shorten lifespan, like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and dementia. Take Robert, a 68-year-old retiree who thought he was eating light by sticking to 2 slices of white toast every morning with his eggs. Over time, he noticed his waistline expanding even though he wasn't overeating. His blood pressure crept higher, and his doctor found his fasting blood sugar levels were borderline diabetic. The culprit? His harmless white bread. Because it lacked fiber, the glucose flooded his bloodstream, forcing his body to release high amounts of insulin. Over the years, this constant strain pushed him into prediabetes and weakened his arteries, raising his stroke risk. Once Robert switched to dense, whole-grain rye bread, not only did his blood sugar stabilize, but his energy levels returned, and his belly fat started to shrink. Still, as bad as white bread is, the number 1 bread seniors should never touch is far worse. It doesn't just wreck your blood sugar, it directly attacks your heart and blood vessels with every bite. And most seniors don't even realize how often they're eating it. Before we go on, if you're getting value from this video, go ahead and tap that like button. And make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon, so you never miss out on powerful health tips like these. Number 1. Rye bread. At first glance, rye bread often seems like the healthier choice. It's darker in color, denser in texture, and marketed as a heart-friendly alternative to white bread. But here's the shocking truth. For many seniors, rye bread can be one of the most dangerous breads you could eat. Why? Because most rye bread sold in supermarkets is not pure rye at all. It's a deceptive mix of refined wheat flour, caramel coloring, and just a sprinkle of rye flour for taste. This trick makes seniors think they're eating something wholesome when, in reality, they're eating another refined, blood sugar spiking loaf that's just as harmful as white bread. The danger doesn't stop there. Rye contains high levels of fermentable carbohydrates, called FODMAPs, that can wreak havoc on aging digestive systems. Seniors who struggle with bloating, gas, or irritable bowel syndrome often find rye bread makes their symptoms dramatically worse. Even those without IBS may notice cramping, swelling, or uncomfortable fullness after just a few slices. And unlike softer breads, rye is extremely dense, which slows digestion and keeps your gut working overtime. For seniors with already sluggish digestion, that strain can trigger acid reflux, constipation, and even nutrient malabsorption. Take Ellen, a 72-year-old grandmother who prided herself on switching from white bread to healthy rye. She noticed after breakfast that her stomach would swell uncomfortably, and she'd feel heavy and fatigued for hours. Her doctor later explained that the rye she was eating wasn't true whole rye, but a blend high in FODMAPs and refined wheat, which aggravated her gut and spiked her insulin just like white bread. When she switched to genuine sprouted whole grain bread in moderation, her bloating subsided, her digestion improved, and she regained energy she thought she'd lost forever. And here's the frightening bottom line. Among all breads, rye is the one most likely to trick seniors into believing they're making a healthy choice, while in truth, it accelerates the very health problems they're trying to avoid. So now you've seen the worst breads that silently drain your health after 60. But here's the good news. There are breads that actually work with your body instead of against it. The right choices can stabilize blood sugar, protect your heart, fuel your muscles, and even keep digestion smooth as you age. Let's flip the list and reveal the 4 breads seniors over 60 should eat daily, starting with one that might surprise you. Number 4. Sprouted grain bread, like Ezekiel bread. Sprouted grain bread is in a completely different league than the processed breads lining supermarket shelves. Instead of being made from flour that has been stripped, bleached, and left lifeless, sprouted breads are made from whole grains that have been soaked until they begin to sprout. This sprouting process unlocks the grain's natural enzymes, making the nutrients inside far more bioavailable, meaning your aging body can actually use them. Seniors who eat sprouted grain bread get more vitamins, minerals, and amino acids than they ever could from regular whole wheat. But the real magic is in digestion. When grains sprout, their starches partially break down, so they hit your bloodstream more slowly, preventing those dangerous blood sugar spikes that fuel diabetes and belly fat. They also contain more soluble fiber, which helps regulate cholesterol and supports bowel movements that become sluggish with age. Many seniors who once felt heavy or bloated after bread report that sprouted grain bread feels lighter, easier to digest, and leaves them with lasting energy instead of a crash. Take Robert, a 68-year-old retiree who battled creeping blood sugar numbers despite cutting back on sweets. When he swapped his regular sandwich bread for sprouted grain bread, his morning glucose readings dropped within weeks. His digestion eased, and he noticed something unexpected. He felt fuller after meals, which made it easier to maintain a healthy weight without effort. Unlike deceptive rye or wheat breads, sprouted grain breads like Ezekiel are truly whole, living foods. They give seniors the dense nutrition of grains without the digestive punishment of processed flour. And because they contain a natural balance of protein and fiber, they help keep muscles strong while preventing the insulin roller coaster that steals energy and packs on fat. Number 3. Sourdough bread, whole grain. Sourdough isn't just a trendy bread with a tangy flavor. It's one of the most scientifically powerful breads seniors can eat. What sets sourdough apart is the natural fermentation process. Instead of being rushed with commercial yeast, sourdough is slowly fermented with wild yeast and beneficial lactic acid bacteria. This process works like predigestion, breaking down gluten and starches so your digestive system doesn't have to work as hard. For seniors who often feel bloated or sluggish after bread, sourdough can feel lighter, gentler, and far easier to tolerate. The fermentation also creates organic acids that slow the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. That means eating sourdough doesn't send your blood sugar soaring like white bread or even standard whole wheat bread. For seniors fighting prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, this is a game changer. In fact, studies show sourdough can improve insulin response, protecting against the very sugar swings that lead to energy crashes, weight gain, and worsening heart health. Consider Margaret, a 72-year-old who had given up bread because every slice left her groggy and uncomfortable. Her daughter introduced her to a local bakery's whole-grain sourdough, and within weeks, Margaret noticed she could enjoy toast again without the bloating or fatigue. She even saw her cholesterol and fasting glucose numbers improve at her next checkup, which her doctor attributed to the steadying effect of fermented grains. This is why sourdough is more than just bread. It's a living, nourishing food. For seniors, it brings back the pleasure of eating bread without the heavy price of inflammation, sugar spikes, or digestive struggles. Whole grain sourdough lets you enjoy a classic comfort food while actively protecting your heart, gut, and energy levels. Number 2. San Francisco-style whole wheat. When you hear San Francisco bread, most people instantly think of that bold, tangy sourdough flavor. But the city's iconic baking tradition goes even further when you combine it with 100% whole wheat flour. This style of bread delivers the perfect fusion of flavor, nutrition, and blood sugar control that seniors desperately need. Unlike fluffy white bread that's stripped of its nutrients, San Francisco-style whole wheat sourdough keeps the entire grain intact, which means you're getting fiber, B vitamins, magnesium, and iron in every single bite. What makes this bread unique is the specific wild yeast and lactic acid bacteria that thrive in San Francisco's cool, foggy climate. They create a longer, slower fermentation, which transforms the wheat into a gut-friendly, easier-to-digest food. For seniors, this matters because many experience reduced stomach acid and slower digestion with age. That long fermentation breaks down gluten proteins and starches before they even reach your gut, making it much less likely to trigger bloating, indigestion, or energy crashes. Take James, a 68-year-old from Oakland who loved bread but couldn't eat it without his glucose monitor flashing dangerous spikes. When he switched to San Francisco whole wheat, his numbers stayed stable even after 2 slices at dinner. Within months, he noticed not just improved energy, but also less joint stiffness, thanks to lower inflammation triggered by more stable insulin. His doctor even told him it was one of the smartest swaps he had ever made. This isn't just bread. It's a tool for protecting senior health. It satisfies cravings, supports digestion, stabilizes sugar, and fuels the body with steady energy. San Francisco-style whole wheat proves you can enjoy bread every day without sacrificing your health. And in fact, you may actually improve it. Number 1. Barley bread. If there is one bread that stands above all others for seniors, it's barley bread. This ancient grain has been feeding civilizations for over 10,000 years, yet most modern diets have pushed it aside for wheat and refined white flour. That's a huge mistake, because barley bread is one of the most powerful natural tools against high blood sugar, heart disease, and muscle decline after 60. The secret lies in its unique type of fiber called beta-glucan. Unlike the fiber in wheat or rye, beta-glucan forms a thick, gel-like substance in your gut after you eat it. This gel slows down how quickly glucose is absorbed into the bloodstream, preventing the dangerous sugar spikes that damage blood vessels and accelerate aging. For seniors, this means fewer crashes, more stable energy, and better protection for the heart and brain. In fact, multiple studies show that just one serving of barley can slash post-meal blood sugar by up to 30%. Barley bread is also surprisingly rich in magnesium, selenium, and antioxidants, nutrients that protect nerve health, strengthen bones, and reduce inflammation in the joints. That's why seniors who eat it regularly often report less stiffness in their knees and hips, along with improved digestion. Unlike wheat, barley contains compounds that actively feed good gut bacteria, which boosts immunity and even mood. Take Helen, a 72-year-old who struggled with both arthritis pain and borderline diabetes. When she swapped her morning toast for 2 slices of barley bread, within weeks she noticed her knees didn't ache as much climbing stairs. Her blood sugar readings also came down, and she felt full for hours instead of craving snacks. Her doctor was stunned that something as simple as bread could shift her health so dramatically. Barley bread isn't just food. It's a natural medicine disguised as a simple staple. No other bread stabilizes blood sugar, protects the heart, eases inflammation, and feeds the gut all at once. That's why, if you're over 60, barley bread earns the crown as the single most powerful bread you can eat daily to extend your strength, energy, and years of healthy living. And there you have it, 4 breads you must never let near your plate, and 4 that could literally keep your muscles, arteries, and brain functioning like you're decades younger. Seniors often think bread is just bread, but as we've uncovered, it's the hidden difference between accelerated decline and a longer, sharper, more active life. Now, here's the shocking truth. The bread industry spends billions every single year to keep you hooked on the cheap, white, lifeless options that destroy your circulation, elevate your blood sugar, and speed up muscle loss after 60. But when you swap those out for breads like sprouted grain, sourdough, San Francisco-style whole wheat, or barley bread, you flip the script. You're no longer fueling disease. You're fueling longevity. If this video opened your eyes, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend or family member over 60 who still thinks white bread is harmless. And before you go, let us know in the comments, what kind of bread is sitting in your kitchen right now? And are you brave enough to switch after what you've learned today? We're replying to every single comment, so don't be shy. Drop your answer below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because we've got even more life-saving senior health tips coming that they don't want you to hear. Until next time, stay strong, stay sharp, and remember, your health is in your hands, one bite at a time. If you have any questions or want to share your own experiences, feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.